Oh, we just jumping right into it?
I
Okay.
mean, we don't have to, but I marked it.
No, we're doing it now.
Okay, go.
Hold my notes. Give me freaking half a second. All right. Hello, and welcome back to Hunt Lowdown, the Hunt Showdown pod for a fellow Forster hunters. I am, of course, Bordor with my wonderful co-host Drake.
Hello, hello.
That was an awkward pause, Drake.
That was a little bit awkward. I apologize.
I did change it up on you. So,
You had too many words.
how you doing, boyo?
I'm alright. I'm alright.
So we actually switched it up this week, and we're actually fresh off hunting. So
Yeah, we did it before
we
instead of
just
after. It's kind of strange.
oh, it was a plot twist. We both hadn't gotten to play as much as we wanted to this week, and so we were like, let's play some before. And we actually have planned out topics and stuff for the next couple weeks, and I'm excited. So, but for this week, we are talking hunt etiquette. This came up a little bit last podcast, I believe, and we realized this is something that we have a little bit of disagreement on, not a ton, but it's something that's not really talked about, and in a game that's the appeal of the game, a big chunk of it is the interaction with other players. I thought it'd be a fun topic to hit on. So we're going to
Yeah,
be talking about what's what like proper etiquette is, and there's kind of two categories for it. The first category is between like you and your teammates, right?
right.
And what's an appropriate thing? Because typically, if you're with you playing with like your real life friend group, you've probably played games before. It probably won't be an issue. But if you're playing with like a community member or like randoms, there might be some stuff to keep in mind. And then we also wanted to hit on uh the etiquette to enemy players. When is there proper etiquette? Like is there such thing as like being a jerky player? Uh what makes the game not fun for people? For like other players? Is that okay to do? Stuff like that. So that's kind
Right.
of what we're gonna be talking about. And yeah, I think we just kinda get into it. You have anything else you wanted to add for the intro, Drake?
Nope. Let's go.
Alright, you wanna kick us off and choose one of the, like, the little topic things? Do you wanna stay with teammates or opponents?
Um,
Those are kind of big, broad
let's do
categories.
opponents first. I think that's a little more important, really.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I
Well,
think that
both are
I think
important.
it's a lo you're always going to be interacting with opponents, but you won't necessarily always have to be actively thinking about, like, etiquette for your teammates, I
Right.
guess.
It also depends on who you're playing with when it comes to
Yeah,
teammates. So
yeah,
that's a
because
big portion of it. But
yeah, because we'll talk about that when they get there. Because there are a lot of people who, like, I just don't play with now because it's not enjoyable to.
fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so opponents, is there such thing as, like, being a polite hunter? Because the two big things that come to mind are Insta-burning and
Yeah.
camping are the
Insta
2 I feel
burning
like the
and
2 hot
camping.
I feel like those are the 2 hot button
Hot
issues.
button issues, yeah.
I I feel like Insta-burning is the smaller of the 2, because camping
Mm,
leads into a bunch of other topics.
it
So so let's stay with Insta-burning.
okay, let's start with Insta burning.
What would you define let's define it first. What would you define an Insta-burn as?
Well, so first there's we gotta mention in case someone starts here for some
Yeah.
reason on on this podcast, episode 5.
Welcome to episode what is it? Episode 5 you said? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Insta burning and hunt is well, first of all, there's the mechanic of when you get down, you can be picked up again. So you're
You
laying there on
lose
the
a bar.
ground,
Yeah.
you've lost a bar of your health, and your teammates can come pick you up and you can continue playing.
Yep.
When you are on fire, while you're on the
Once
ground,
you once you run out of bows, you're
oh,
dead. So,
right,
like, if you get picked up, you lose somewhere between 25 to 50 health, and you have 150 total, so you could be picked up somewhere between,
like
what
three
is
or
it,
four
3
times,
and
three
5 times, I
or
think?
five, yeah,
Yeah, somewhere in that range. So you can be picked up a couple times.
right,
But once you go down to your 50 bow, your last bow will always be 50. Once you're downed at that, or it's burned out, which is we'll talk about in a second, then you're dead, and you cannot be revived unless your teammate has a bounty token.
Right. Um.
Sorry, continue.
No. Oh, right. So insta-burning is when an enemy player throws a firebomb or a lantern or something fire related onto your body to make you burn out faster. It actually gets rid of your health and
Yeah,
it kills you permanently faster.
yeah, because when you're laying there, you don't lose any berries until you're picked up and downed again. But
Right.
if you're on fire, your health will slowly be charred away. And once it crosses a barrier, then it'd be the same as if it got burned out from being downed.
Right. And so insta burning, as you can imagine, is the moment you get downed, the enemy team has line of sight of your body and can throw something on you to burn you out.
Yeah, and
The moment you get downed, and
I think that's a little bit of a
this is
there's a
often
time window for it. Yeah,
yeah, this is often seen as kind of disrespectful, kind of a BM
yeah.
move to do.
It's seen as you're playing to, because a lot of times what happens is if you burn the body and then lose the fight, it's kind of spiteful to, it kind of screws the other team over for like future fights because they're missing no health.
Right. Which I mean, at the end of the
Or if
day,
or if
it's
they
like
win,
it is a
yeah,
PvP game, so
yeah,
everyone's trying to win. Everyone's trying to get the bounty and get out or kill all the
yeah.
other players, whatever. But it to me it kind of showcases that you don't trust in your own skill very well to not insta burn. If you insta burn, that means you're trying to get that guy out of the picture entirely ASAP, so that way you can win that fight, or only be a 2v3 instead of whatever.
I think it depends too on, there's like the window, because like if you
There
have a
is a window.
Molotov, you down them and then you just immediately quick swap to it and chuck it, like that's insta burning.
Hmm.
If you wait like a minute or two and like they're not pushing, you're starting to get into like because there is an appropriate time to burn,
Yes. Oh, I agree with that
because
entirely.
this game can be really frustrating and slow, and there are times where if I'm playing a rival with a conversion FMJ or something, some close ranged or melee focused loadout, and the opponent's playing Spike Spitzer Sniper,
Right.
and it's been 15 minutes, I'm going to burn the body.
Right. And then 15 minutes is incredibly
Yeah,
generous. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm taking a very extreme example here,
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
where it's like that's the very clear, yeah, it's fine example. The like I think kind of jerk alternative, if we were to go the four opposite, would be playing what? Crown and King slugs with, you down them inside the boss layer and then immediately burn their body or something.
Right. Where you
And it's
clearly
just
have
like,
the advantage anyway over their
yeah,
teammate.
yeah. And you're not even giving them a chance
Yeah.
to, because the incentive to burning an opponent's body is it does force your opponents to do something or risk having their buddy permanently die or
Right.
be weakened for future fights.
Right.
And there's something to be said where it's like, I don't know if it's not trusting in your own skill as much as taking every single advantage, even when it's like it's
You've already
providing
got an
so little
advantage.
for you. Yeah, when it's
Yeah.
providing so little for you, and it's such a ouch thing for the it's such a feels bad thing for your opponent. I think
Right.
is what gets it's not necessarily the not trusting in the skill. It's the thing of like, if I'm playing a spoke sniper and I'm staying at like 20-30 meters against a Romero because they just downed my buddy and I'm trying to revive him and then they burn him, I'm not annoyed because ah, I don't. This guy's not confident he can kill me with his Romero. I'm annoyed because really, I'm pushing you with a spoke sniper, and you still feel the need to burn and like do this to my buddy. Okay, okay.
Right.
So I think there's something to it there, and there's also the situations of, I think if you're playing like solo or like duos versus trios, like if you're down a man, I think
Right.
insta burning's a lot more acceptable
Yes.
because
I
you're
would agree.
because you're
I could
playing
agree with
permanently at a
that.
disadvantage.
And actually that was just mentioned in my chat here.
Hmm.
Especially if you're playing solo.
Yeah.
You know,
Because I
it's almost like it negates all, like, okay, fine, fair enough. But here's the thing though, sometimes you don't really know if it's a solo
yeah
or if you're in trios playing against a duo team. It's You don't really know. So it's
I
hard
was
to
at
make that call on the fly if it's a
yeah.
BM or not.
The fun thing is like getting tilted that they Instaburn and then like, they solo and you're like, well, yeah, okay, fair enough. I
Yeah.
have Instaburned as a solo too, and then realized the other guy's a solo, and that's just funny. You're like, my own
Yeah.
hubris.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
I played myself.
I wasted that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but and there's a lot to be said too. I want to mention this for Instaburning. A lot of more veteran players have a lot more of a negative reaction to it because burning used to be so much worse.
It really,
I
yeah, it used to
believe
be
you
a lot
used to
worse.
burn 2 or 3 times faster. South skin didn't exist to
I was
help it.
I was gonna say this was
Choke
naturally,
bombs,
yeah.
yeah, choke bombs didn't exist. And then when they were first introduced, they were consumable, and nobody took them. And so the only way to pick up that burning buddy of yours was to run in there and get freaking killed trying to do it. Because you
Right.
also couldn't revive him
To
with the
put them.
bounty.
Now, could you put
So
them
like,
out? 'Cause
yeah,
I didn't play
you
during
could
this
run,
time.
you could run by and just tap F to like put them out.
Right. Okay.
But like, man, if you're like your buddy's a little bit out of position, gets downed, insta burned, and you're on the other side of the compound, he's dead.
Right. Okay.
Because like unless you run in there and like unless it's like okay, I've got a shotgun in there and a boss lady, I've got a chance. It's you got so little time to do it, and knowing that they're probably camping the body is, huh. I
Yeah.
think that's also a part of it. What do you do after you insta burn is kind of how much of a jerk move it is because if you're playing duos and you down somebody and then like if we let's say we're fighting somebody, we down somebody immediately, insta burn them, and then we rotate. I don't think that's as bad
That's not nearly as
because then,
bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you can easily go over there to choke them, and then or pick them up because we're using it to rotate and kind of like force movement, as opposed to insta-burning also kind of has that implication that you are then going to stand over their body, you're gonna watch them,
Right. Yeah.
and if that buddy comes up, you're gonna pop him in the head.
Yeah. Forcing your
So
hand. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh.
and
Yeah.
choke bombs have offset this so much.
If
Like
you're
I don't think yeah,
uh,
take choke bombs.
yeah, take choke
Take
bombs,
choke
or
bombs.
at the very least, if you're doing something silly like a hand crossbow, make your off one. The the choke darts
Yeah,
or something.
choke darts actually pretty sweet.
They are. They are.
I like them.
I've actually had one match I can remember where I had poison on one and choke on the other, and
Zoning
I
is cool.
wrecked faced in that this little like duo v duo uh situation I was in. It was fun.
Yeah. Um, but I think that's kind of what it comes down for Insta-burning is it's it's not that it's inherently a wrong thing to do, so
Right.
much as it can remember that everybody's playing this. It's gonna sound really wishy-washy, and the stuff like this can tilt me too when it's said. But remember, everybody's playing this game to have fun.
Right.
So if you're
I
gonna
feel like
play to win,
that could be
but
argued
don't
against actually.
yeah don't
Some
like
people are playing this to be jerks. Some people are.
okay. The vast majority of the
There you
people are
go.
playing to have
There you go.
fun. So I think it's the thing of there's find times to do it. Just don't insta burn in camp because it does it does feel really bad and it can kind of ruin somebody's night. And it at the end of the day, it is a competitive game. I get it. I get it.
Just
But there's
It's like
don't
just don't
I
be a jerk.
yeah,
Just don't be a
don't be a
jerk.
jerk.
Come on. I think it's
And
okay.
the thing with this again is I think choke bombs have really lessened the impact of how bad insta burning is.
Yeah, it has.
Like way back in the day, like God, don't do it. Just don't. But
Right.
now most people take choke bombs or something, so like
Some
it's more
means of
understandable.
putting them
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Do you actually know if this is gonna be kind of crazy sounding, but
Mhm.
if your buddy is on the ground burning, but there's no fire around them, right? There's just that little burn on their body.
Yeah.
Can you chuck poison on them and have it snuff out fire?
It will not.
It will
You
not. Okay.
can Yeah, you can just run over it. This is something that a lot of people forget now since choke bombs have been the tool. If you just run over somebody's body and you don't want to revive them, you can just run over them, tap F, and that'll put them out. You
Right.
just tap that revive button and
But I
it'll
was
stop them
thinking
from.
for more in terms of like your buddy's middle of compound out in the open and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
in
yeah.
cover.
No,
Can you,
poison,
can you
poison,
throw a
no, no.
poison, anything on them
Nope,
to, okay,
no.
good to know.
That'd be interesting, but
I still think it would be
which
neat
means you
if
can
poison clouds,
poison. Yeah, you can poison and burn them.
I still think it'd be cool if poison clouds, if fire touched poison clouds, it would get rid of the poison cloud, but it would erupt in like a burst of flame, like, like
Yeah, I
it's
don't know.
gas, that'd be kind of cool.
That is the other interesting one. Poisoning bodies. Because
Oh
poisoning
yeah,
bodies is kind of like insta-burning, where the goal is to decline a revive.
right.
But the difference is instead of burning the body and putting pressure on it, you make a stinky cloud that makes them unable to be revived basically without necro.
But you know
But it
what
can still
though?
be put out by choke.
Right.
The issue is if you're in a long engagement, you want the burning because that'll put the pressure on, whereas poison is a probably more effective temporary fix, but a less effective
What
long-term
I would
fix.
say about poison actually is I think it's actually a lot more friendly to do
Yeah. Oh
because
yeah,
you're
absolutely.
still
Oh no,
denying the
100%.
pickup, but you're not actually getting them out of the game entirely,
The issue
So
is it's
so someone with like necro and they pick up their buddy, they stand up immediately and get downed immediately because they're standing in poison and, die. And yes, they will lose that health bar, but that's on them at that point to
yeah.
not pick up their buddy.
The only catch is unless they don't have choke bombs, because while most people take choke bombs, not everybody does, and if
Right.
you don't, you have to wait that poison out,
True. You have to wait.
and that is rough.
That's yeah. Time wasted in hunt is a thing. It is a thing.
Yeah.
You can totally waste way too much
So
time waiting around.
as hard as it is, like going for the less, like if you're like, okay, I'm gonna stop bringing Molotovs, I'm gonna start bringing poison choke bombs. You because I don't want to be a jerk.
Right.
You might end up screwing somebody over harder accidentally.
Right.
Just be like, welcome. I hope you enjoy waiting 5 minutes for my poison bomb to leave.
Uh. Yeah. I think we've done that
We
before.
would have
Actually, I
fun though.
think I've done that before. Throw a
I I
poison
I
bomb on
have
someone and then get downed. Like,
I
well,
I've died by a poison barrel, and then my buddy and I had a choke and just had to wait for the poison barrel.
there is actually something to be said too about antidote shots in this case.
Oh,
Is
there's also a yeah antidote shot. Yeah, okay.
well, I was gonna
Teach you
say
antidote shot.
because if you well no, I'm just saying because if you pop your antidote shot, then you get downed and someone poisons your body. The antidote shot persists through death. It's still
It,
going
it
through
does.
your veins. So if you
Mhm.
get picked up, you're fine. You're
Yeah.
totally fine. So it's like, there's actually a test that I want to do, and I thought of this while we were casting here. Is I want to next time someone gets down that I'm in a party with, and I
Mhm.
have a cloud of poison that I can deploy, is to antidote the body or see if I can antidote the body, and if I can,
I don't believe you can.
stand them up in poison, and just to clarify that
Don't
it works.
Yeah, I don't believe you can, but we'll try that. The other thing I want to mention is because since we're talking poison, there are other options if you want to be, I guess, a kindly soul. Um, there's always trip mines.
Right?
Trip mines being the less one, they just give you a sound cue if somebody gets picked up, which is nice.
Unless you do two of them,
Um,
because you can set people on fire
yeah,
with it.
yeah, and that's but if they go in person, a lot of times they disable them.
Right.
They do stop Neko, which is cool. Concertina ones and poison ones will both kill a Neko revive, which can be really nice. Or like if you're playing solo, it's really nice to take those so you can cover the body and then rotate. Um, and then concertina bombs. I mentioned this in the consumables, but they're really sweet because they don't cause any lasting harm. They don't have a time limit on them like poison bombs. They're relatively cheap at $40. They're twice as much as a Molotov still, but they also have the added benefit though of they can block off entrances and you can actually use them as cover for your own revive. So
Right.
Drake and I actually were playing before this, and he was in full line of sight of somebody, but it's through like a little tunnel, and I just chucked my concertina and got to
Yep.
revive them. So they can be really really useful. But yeah, I think that's. Is there anything else you want to add about Insta burning? because it's a really
Um,
it used to be a lot more hot button issue than it is. But now
right.
I think it's kind of like it's typically viewed as kind of a jerk move because it provides a negative it gives a big negative to whoever you're facing for not
Yeah,
necessarily always that much benefit. That
right.
being said, there are benefits to doing it, especially if you're playing like burning off 50 hit points and then the person still getting revived can still be really relevant because then you can still kill them from another 10 meters away with a shotgun or aim shots
Right.
from a conversion will kill them now. Stuff like that can be very relevant. So it's while it's a bit of a jerk move, I don't think it's as taboo as it used to be or even necessarily still is.
Okay. Yeah. Um,
Again, mainly because of choke bombs.
and Tom's actually made a good point. Uh, you can still so the burning effect of fire in hunt, it actually affects the end of your total health, not your current health. So uh, when you get meaning you can be revived in fire and stand up, and even though, if I'm understanding this right, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't recall how it works from my own personal experience, is it'll burn your the end of your health bar, not your current
No,
health.
it is based off your current
It
health.
is your current health.
Yes, that is not. Yeah, it is your current health. If
Okay.
you get downed by 25 and then burned, it'll stay at the end of your health.
Well, the health degradation, I guess, is it will still kill you. Yeah, so it does
Because
burn your main, but
it's the same effect. Because when you're downed, it just insta burns. It'll insta. Tom, if you have some evidence of that, like shoot it to me. But I'm I'm 90% sure that's incorrect.
huh. I was like,
Oh.
because I want to say it was current health, but I mean, yeah, Tom, if you've got,
Unless they changed that. Unless it was changed in a recent update and I missed it.
which we will once we know for sure, we will mention it in the next
I'm
podcast.
I'm 90% I'm 90% certain it is because the way when you get downed, it isn't a separate effect. It it burns you back. Is what it does. It's like the mechanic of losing health is burning, and when you die, it just burns off a chunk.
He might mean from when you're, because when you're downed and you like the moment you stand up,
Hmm.
you with the moment you stand up, your health is already low.
Oh,
And so
so
it's not
yeah,
burning
so
your current
yeah,
health,
so
it's burning
it's yes,
your
it's
max health is what he's
your
saying.
your max health. Sorry, if that's what you mean, that is correct. The
Okay.
way you phrased it made it sound like it'll
Well,
always stay from 150.
I'm not
But no,
sure. I'm not
yeah,
sure if
the
you
burning.
actually read what he
Sorry,
said, or if you're going off what I said, because I may have misrepresented what he said.
I did both.
Okay.
But I might have been. So yeah, so let's make sure we have that clear. In case what? All right, your
So
current
yes.
max health that has not been burned will always be where it starts, not the amount of hit points you currently have. So
Right.
if you have just been revived at 25 hit points and you're being picked up and you're burning, but you'd been downed once and lost 25, then the burning of your bear will be burning from the 125 point.
Right.
And that is where it starts, even though you have 25 points.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Because there's
Okay.
okay, so there's a difference between max health and current health in this regard. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I was interpreting max health from the phrasing of it was different than was intended. I
Right.
apologize, Tom. I'm sorry. We're probably gonna have to cut a lot of that. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I mean
um.
I like
Yeah.
showing when we're wrong, so I might keep a little bit.
Yeah. Just don't want to drive everybody nuts with them going, "Oh my god." Okay.
Shut up. Move
So
on.
yeah, Instaburn. Yeah. Okay. Camping.
Camping.
Oh,
Oh, right. Okay. Um. So I know you
defining
said this is
camping.
more hot button, but
Yeah.
go on.
So I'm gonna define camping. I'm gonna give two different definitions of camping. The first one is gonna be like the full one is just when you're purposely staying in one place or a very small area and covering one area that you know your opponents need to get to. So typically it'll be in a boss lair or just if you're in a compound and you know somebody else comes there, instead of moving around and looking for them, you sit with your Mayo shotgun around a corner and wait for them to come
Right.
or whatever it is. The little addition to it would be kind of like would be the specific objective camping of either a body or a boss token.
Right. Like a clue or a boss
So
token.
yeah, and I think the body's the more relevant one, but
Right.
because because and it's for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Now, camping is one thing in this game I do not find enjoyable
Doing the camping or
at
being
all.
camped on?
Yes,
Okay. Fair enough.
I've lost many games because I just don't enjoy camping, and I'll make a dumb play because I know the opponent's camping in the compound somewhere, and I spend a couple minutes. I get sick of waiting, and then I run out, and I know it's the wrong play. The right play is to stay there, listen, and then
Right.
find out where they are, and then kill them. But it can be really boring.
Yeah. So camping is interesting because you're right. It's absolutely boring, and I wish people wouldn't do it. But also, I think camping is actually one of the main mechanics of the game. Like, you
Yes,
know,
I want to get
the whole
yeah.
vibe of downing the boss and then trapping the entire layer and then hunkering down and waiting. I mean, that is the definition of camping. You're, you know, as we just
Mhm.
defined it, and you're camping the boss token. It's like that's
Yeah,
part of the game. So while I agree it's boring and I wish people wouldn't do it, I get it. And also the fact that there's sniper rifles and marksman rifles, you know,
yes.
don't help with that.
You can't take camping completely out of this game without ruining the game
Right. Yeah.
because a big part of this game is being slow and methodical and, making
And
sure the corner's safe
blending,
to clear,
yeah,
blah, blah,
blending
blah, blah,
with
blah.
your terrain,
Yeah,
being
but
sneaky.
the difference for me is the between where you go from playing the game to, like, the camping part that frustrates me is when there is nothing happening. So, like, if I'm in a boss layer, I'm gonna peek windows and stuff a little bit and or run out or try to rotate. That's fine. Like, that's still camping a little bit if I'm in a boss layer and I'm not leaving with
Again,
shot.
that's just part of the mechanics of the game. That one you
Yeah,
can't help.
but but there are times where you all enter a boss layer and I'll run around for like 10, 15 minutes legitimately, like shooting grunts and stuff, and people just won't do anything.
Right.
And like that's where it gets me of there's a point in the game where you have to peek a window or okay, you don't. You don't have to peek. It might even be the best technical decision to not
To
peek the
not
window
peek the
or
window,
to
yeah.
not creep around the corner to check something out. And the patience is the thing of the game. It's really frustrating to be on either side of that. Um, and I think that's the big one. The reason I called out body camping and objective camping earlier is I think that's where it's more frustrating, is especially when it's a
Right.
body, because if my buddy's down, I want my buddy to be able to play the game.
Right.
So I want to be able to get to him, and so when I know somebody's just sitting there watching him with
Watching it, yeah.
it's like okay,
I mean,
it's
so
frustrating.
yeah, what I see, it's dumb because like I agree.
Mhm.
And in fact, I would suggest people take traps to put on the body so that if you do pick them up, or if you don't see it and you pick up their buddy and they get down by the trap, that's on them at that point. But like,
Yeah,
uh, honestly, camping a body without a trap on it is basically,
yeah, it's not a bad tactical play.
well, it's not a bad
It's
tactical play, but it's also basically right there with Insta-burning.
yeah.
It's just bad manners. It's not fun.
It's also the thing of it. I think the thing with me is when you're not advancing the game at all, because you can camp and still advance the game. So like if you're the
True.
whole if you're camping a body, if you down them, it's not necessarily a bad idea to then immediately rotate and camp the body from a different point. And when you do that, that gives the opponent a little bit of room to maneuver. It gives you a chance to potentially hear their steps and to like draw something out.
Right.
And so there's the game state can advance. Whereas if you down them and then just immediately turn around and sit there when you were at them or sitting in the corner,
Yeah.
nothing is going to happen because the label is not going to come down that stairway and push you. They might be out of consumables. And so then you're both just chilling there until one of you decides to do something.
Right.
And like that's where I'm like, ugh.
Boring.
So I think for me the camping is when you're not progressing the game state. When there's nothing's advancing at all in any way. Nobody's peeking corners, nobody's peeking windows, nobody's moving, nobody's trying to bait a shot. It's just you could have Netflix on and nobody would know.
Right. And then that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any real way to combat that. Didn't
Yeah.
Hunt have a suggestion for fixing camping? Has that come out yet?
No, it has not. So there's a anti-camping
Mechanic coming?
method in place. The thing with it is they said that it'll include team play,
Oh,
but
that's right.
the other issue with it is we started this with defining camping, and then I think we actually shifted a camping definition. At least I did a little bit because I started as anytime people are just kind of watching one point, and I think I've
Yeah.
kind of changed it to be not advancing the game state, not advance, not like nothing,
You
not trying to
fine-tuned it,
advance the
I would
game.
say.
Yeah.
Because
Um.
camping and traditionally does mean what you originally defined it as,
Yeah.
because other games have camping too.
Yes.
But this game is got objectives to
Yeah.
it that are PvE, and you know,
Yeah. So I guess it'd kind of be like objective camping, which is covering a spot, or I don't know, fear camping, which is not progressing anything because everybody's too afraid to do something or too
right?
sweaty. So I
Too
think those are kind
sweaty.
of the two kind. The problem is we don't know what the hunt devs mean by stopping camping.
Right.
Like we don't even know what they've defined as the problem.
Right.
Because a lot of people, this is one that drives me absolutely bonkers. A lot of people get really, really frustrated because they'd be like, I'm so sick of shotgun campers sitting inside the boss lair with their concertina mines and lit trip mines and their slug shotguns and just sitting in the boss lair and not coming out.
Right.
As I sat outside with my Mosin sniper from 150 meters.
Right.
And I'm like, look, understandably frustrating. However, you're part of the issue in this situation. You can push into that compound, especially if they're in the boss lair. You can try and wallbang. You can go in there with your uppercut, listen for those steps, and take some wallbangs. Guess what? If they're camping in there, there's probably a resupply. You can send your buddy up there, have him run up, grab some ammo, some consumables, come back, swap places, cover it. Like there are things you can do when somebody's camping like a boss lair or something like that. The reason nothing's advancing is because one team is greatly advantaged inside and one is greatly advantaged outside. They're not incentivized to push each other. And like that's just a part of how the game works. But it's not necessarily the shotgun player's fault. Otherwise, it's also your fault for not running in with your sniper into the boss lair.
Right.
And you shouldn't do that because it'd be stupid.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, that
um, and like I think that's what they're defining as camping. And my fear is that they're gonna punish the shotgun players even
you
though
think
the
so?
shotgun players aren't necessarily because in this situation they're the ones quote unquote at fault because they're the ones camping the objective.
I see. Yeah.
Even though I would say the people who are more annoying in this situation, as somebody who is often this person, would be the person with the label marksman outside.
Right.
Because when you play a shotgun, you're playing to be inside compounds, right? Like that's
Right.
that's the time where you want to play it.
You're
If you're
playing
playing
to be
like a
noisy.
you're playing to play close range,
That's what
and
I
Hunt
mean.
incentivizes like the range combat because you have that safety of revives and stuff.
Right.
So like the LeBeau Marksman's the most of the time is going to be the better gun. So in this is like making the shotgunny thing worse feels bad because it's like okay, it's going to encourage slower play even more because the guns that are incentivized to be outside and covering the extracts and the escapes are now incentivized because they can negate the situation in which their loadout is bad.
Right. Maybe going off of Tom's comment, what if they're going to be defining camping as those who are camping outside of the game's objectives? So if you get into the boss layer and you've earned the right to camp it because
Mhm.
that's the whole point of being in there and defeating the boss,
Yeah.
you're fine, you know. But then if there's a team outside with the marksman and sniper, they're the ones that would be punished in this case for the sake of
Mm.
what are you doing? Why are you, like you need to push that or you need to do something about it. So maybe that's what's gonna happen.
I think ideally it'd be we talked about this a little bit before, is like it'd be something for both. Like there's
Right.
something
Okay.
the inside team can be doing, like using bounty or something to complete some objective inside the layer to give them some advantage, or
Oh, that's an
and
interesting thought.
and then something that the outside team can be doing that incentivizes them to do something. But yeah, that is because that is a good point. The egg completing the shotgun campers did kind of earn it by killing the boss. Like there is
Exactly.
something to getting to the boss first. I don't know. But yeah, that's the issue. Is they've said there's an anti-camping mechanic. We have no idea what it is,
None.
because we do have an anti-camping mechanic now. We have we have deck sight, and we have the
Well,
this
dark
whisper
sight's always been
mechanic.
there, but yeah, and you're
Yeah,
talking about the whispering. Yeah, yeah.
the whisper, because the whisper mechanic didn't used to be a thing, and it caused serious camping issues
Right.
because people would stare at a clue and then when somebody came to get it,
Right.
which
Makes
was
sense.
really freaking annoying.
I bet it
Which,
was.
by the way, is still a little bit of an issue for some new players. New players,
Right.
if you
If they
aren't
don't
aware
know.
of this, if you aren't aware of this, when the boss is dead, it does not have the whisper mechanic anymore. The reason being is they don't want the team that just killed the boss to be able to then just wait there and use it as like a heads up for compound. The issue with it is if you choose then not to banish it, and some team has only picked up one clue, they're not aware the boss is in this compound. They come into the new compound looking for the clue. They accidentally run through the boss layer trying to get to the clue first, and get blasted by a shotgun or somebody because they've got the boss dead. So there is no whisper mechanic
Right.
because the boss is dead.
And you can't hear the
So be
boss because
aware.
the boss is dead.
Yeah, so if there's no whisper mechanic and you know the boss is in the compound, somebody is there and they are waiting to pull some stupid sneaky trap.
Some
It doesn't
swampy,
happen often,
campy
but
thing.
yeah, it doesn't happen often anymore, but it can be really annoying. And you
Right.
can now banish it with Serpent if you happen to have it.
Did I know that? I feel like I knew that. I'm not totally
Yeah, that was
surprised.
it. It was I've seen it happen a grand total of 0 times, but it's in the game, so
Okay.
yeah. So I think that kind of covers camping, and this is one where I think I'm just gonna force us to move on because
Yeah.
I feel like
Well,
we're
we're
gonna
also
get
running out
some.
of time, so
Yeah, I feel like, but we're gonna probably get some feedback on this one, and the other thing with it is we're probably gonna revisit it when the mechanic comes out.
oh
So
yeah, true.
yeah,
We will come back to it for sure.
okay. So uh, let's
So
move on to
teammates, uh,
team etiquette.
team etiquette. There you go.
So this is one that's gonna vary greatly from playgroup to playgroup, which is why even though we don't have a ton of time for it, I feel like we can get through it because so much of it's gonna just be talk to your talk to your teammates, know what they're okay with. Like I know that I can like if Drake dies, I can go, oh my god, you pleb kicker, what is it, clutcher kick,
Touch your
blah
kick.
blah
Yeah.
blah, and then like and he can make fun of me right back, and I know we're both okay with that.
Yeah.
But like if somebody new comes in and I go, "Wow, you filthy degenerate! I can't believe you missed that shot," uninstall. They'd be like, "What? Oh,
Well, I
like,
mean,
'cause- I
that
mean,
right there is just common
I
internet
wouldn't actually
video
do it.
game
Yeah,
behavior. I mean, we can't really
yeah.
not
It,
expect that to happen.
yeah. There's banter involved in the game, but so this comes down to specific things. So I want to focus more on, uh, like the hunt specific ones. So like to start off,
Fair.
ping your traps, let your teammates know that you drop a trap, like an alert trip mine or whatever. Uh, Ping it, and more importantly, get like make sure they know.
Yeah, make sure they acknowledge that you said, "Hey, I put a trap by this barrel. Don't run by this barrel."
If your buddy's fighting Scrapbeak and Scrapbeak's enraged and screaming, and you go, "Hey, this barrel is trapped," he does not know.
Yeah, yeah. There's no way.
I
Yeah.
I've done this to people. I've had it done to me.
Make
Just
sure your
yeah,
teammates know you've placed a trap.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Figure out uh, figure out what your ping. Figure out how your teammates ping things.
Yes, that is important.
Figure
We tend to
yeah.
stick to the rule of single pings only unless there's players. If there's players, that's when you double ping.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't be opposed that if I was busy yammering away uselessly about something, and Tom's over here trying to tell me that he's placed this trap by this barrel, don't run by it. If he were to double ping it, because he's been trying to tell me for like 10, 15 seconds, and I'm just not hearing it, that would get me to look because players. So I'm gonna look over. He's gonna be like, I said I placed a trap here, and I'm gonna be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's also like having like pinging stuff like lunchboxes slash what are they actually called? Toolboxes?
Toolboxes, yeah.
Yeah, toolboxes.
We forgot the names of the actual things.
The little bags of money, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Just ping in, just going. Eh. But that's nice. But learning call outs, I guess, is the ping thing.
Yeah.
Just it doesn't take long, but this game is so it incredibly rewards cooperation. So spending a minute to just figure out what your buddy's pings mean can be really helpful. So like figure out if you hit somebody and then ping and say tagged, that they know what that means. The amount of times I've accidentally killed my teammate because I was playing with Riley the other night, and I tagged a guy and I made the wrong call out and I said got him.
No, that was me.
Instead of
That was me.
No, it was you? Yeah, and
I
said got him. I said got him instead of tagged him, and it straight up got Drake killed.
Right. Because when he said got him, I was like, okay, I'm safe.
Yep.
So I went. I
said it. I tried to correct myself. Didn't get it out in time.
Right.
But it's one of those things where if you can get the tagged, got him, like double ping, when you get all of those figured out, it can really make your team into a machine of like doing a double ping, going tagged him, he's moving left around the mound.
Yeah.
Can be really helpful, especially if your buddy's to the left and he goes, and he just rotates a little bit more. And yeah. So like spending that minute to just work out what your callouts are, superb. Do it. Lovely.
Yes, actually do that. And a ping idea from Tom is that he said where some games have this where it's like a wheel, so you can do different pings. Hunt kind of has a built-in thing where if you're looking directly at a lunchbox or toolbox and you ping it, it has a unique icon over top of it, so people know what you're pinging when they look over and see the ping. Some things have that, but it'd be neat if they did it for bear traps, if they did it for regular traps, if you managed to actually hover over a hunter and ping the hunter for a second, that'd be kind of cool too. Yeah. Or even if it was a wheel.
I would like them to be able to. I actually really like the idea of them expanding it to be able to ping world like traps that are set. I think that'd be really nice, especially for just trapping a boss layer.
To be fair, they could just do better on the pinging system entirely, I feel like, because while it's not horrible, it's like, how many times have you heard a ping and you look over and you can't see it?
Yeah, I will say
out too much.
a big issue with it is that the ping system wasn't initially integrated. It was actually added in. It was added in early, but it was not a part of the initial build.
Okay.
So they have had to slap it together. So like if you watch like really early Psycho Ghost videos, all of the callouts are by the compass and landbanks.
Okay.
Which by the way, that's the other thing. Big pet peeve here. This is a big pet peeve of Baldi's. If you are making a call out, use landmarks and use crap. Like say White House, don't just go I pinged it. The amount of times I've just not been able to find somebody and somebody's like I pinged it, just look at the ping.
Right.
It's like, well, if I could see them on the ping, I wouldn't need it. Like I wouldn't be asking for an additional call out.
There's the other issue of
we do have a compass and landmarks though.
Yes. Nice. You use the landmarks and compass. You are correct. There's also the other issue where, and I've had this happen so many times, where you go to ping something and then you realize after you moved around a little bit that you pinged way beyond it, or you pinged the window in front of you, the window frame, but the size is still the same size that it would be at any distance on your screen.
Or the ping is like over water, so like you can't see it, and
right.
Like
so,
there's a lot of times,
and then I move over a little bit, and it's like the window in front of me, and I'm like, "Dadgummit!" Like,
basically, what we're getting at is pings are extremely useful use them. They're great, lovely. Uh, don't. They're not the end all be all.
Right.
Like,
They're
don't
helpful, but don't rely on just pings.
and don't get frustrated if people ask for clarification. I know it can
That
be
too.
like, yeah, because I do it too, but it's hard not to. But just keep it in mind. Keep it in
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Uh,
Call
okay.
outs, call outs, call outs, call outs, call
Yeah.
outs.
And honestly, that could be a
Oh,
whole podcast on its own. But
right. And I guess the problem with the if you could ping a hunter and have the hunter icon appear,
Mhm.
you could theoretically ping bushes until you see the icon and then shoot the icon. So maybe not that.
yeah,
Maybe
it would
not
have to
hunters.
if you did it, it'd have to be the scroll one. It couldn't be the if you hit the hunter with
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
may or I don't know. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, I was gonna move on. So if you
Yeah.
wanna,
Go. We'll move on. We'll move on.
okay. So the next thing I have is this is a big one. Loadouts.
Mm.
And Hunt is a team game if you're playing with a team. Communicate what your loadout is. Or if you
Yes.
don't, check.
Right.
I- So find out how you want your team to play and then organize to that. Or if you get into the match, just communicate that you're playing something different. So there's a couple trains of thought of this, right? And this is another topic we'll probably talk about. But I like to play whatever my teammates are playing so that I can complement their play style. So if Hunter is playing a shotgun, I'm going to bring a shotgun or a crossbow or something aggressive. If Drake is bringing a sniper, I'm going to try and bring a sniper something long ranged.
You know that doesn't
Because
happen.
I what?
I don't play sniper. Carry on.
Okay, but you play long range.
Right.
Um, the reason being, it keeps one of you from getting into a situation where like I have a shotgun, I charged in, died, and now my buddy with a sniper's in a bad place. You can play that way too. It's like you play one person with like a shotgun uppercut, one sniper, whatever. So that way you're complementing each other's weaknesses. That's the other kind of train of thought. But whichever one you're doing, you should communicate that to your partner.
Right.
Because if you're playing complement your partner's weakness, and I'm playing assuming you're also playing a shotgun,
Right.
we're gonna have a bad time
Right.
because the communication just isn't there. The other thing with this is, hey, if you're playing like memes, it's fine. Like if you're playing
It's
with me,
totally
play your
fine.
memes. Memes are peachy. I love them. Let me know
You're right. And I will meme with
if you
you.
if you're playing quad explosive uppercut or all concertina bow and arrow. Fantastic. Let's go.
Two
Please
bows,
tell me
all with
before I
concertina. Yeah.
yeah. Please tell me before I bring a Mosin sniper with Spitzer. You know,
Right. Yeah.
make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Uh
And it's a really small thing, but it's one of those things where it can make a world of a difference because it can lead to the not doing it can lead to those situations where it's one person's dead and just waiting for you to get revived.
right.
Like not communicating
And that's happened to
loadout and
us so many
yeah.
times where like I'll push in with a shotgun and yeah, a pistol of some kind.
Let's be
And then
honest, it's normally
I
me running in and getting killed. It's almost always me, Drake.
well,
I'm
I was gonna
sorry.
use me and Tom again as an example because Tom is an avid marksman or sniper user.
Yeah.
So I'll run in with my shotgun and not realize Tom hasn't moved up yet, and which is another communication thing. Going back to communication, um, and I'll get downed because I get downed frequently, and then Tom is stuck out in the woods, you know, staring at a window,
And
with
it's
a
like,
sniper
I
rifle, and it's just like,
yeah.
So
And it's just one of those things where it very much I think affects it directly affects how much you enjoy the game
yeah,
because it can it can make you not play the game failing to do this.
it could be very
So
frustrating.
yeah, what I have taken to doing is either waiting for the other person to make a load and then just choosing off them. But again, if they're doing the same thing, doesn't work. But the thing with that is it doesn't always it can be slow. So what I actually do now is I typically ask, what are you playing in more general sense? So the three categories I kind of give a meme, aggressive, or slow.
That makes
And
sense.
so if somebody's planning to play like slow and sweaty, and like really take it seriously, then I'm gonna take a long ammo rifle. I'm gonna play something like medium to long range, something that will force me to play slowly and methodically, and to play in the same play style they are.
Right.
Whereas then if you're like, I'm gonna play aggressive, I'm gonna bring like an officer carbine, I'm gonna bring fanning crossbow. I'm gonna play something that I can kind of run and gun a little bit with.
Right.
And so even then, I'm not necessarily trying to match their loadout perfectly. I'm trying to complement their playstyle so that we're going to not live and die together, but
But
we're
also
going
live
to
and die together.
naturally, yeah, we're gonna naturally like play together. We're gonna naturally synergize their loadouts a little bit,
Right.
and I think that can help the enjoyment a lot
There's
from the game.
uh nothing more frustrating than you going in slow and methodical, and the moment you jump in, your teammate starts blasting hives with their shotgun, to clear the way, and it's like, okay, I'm trying to be
Yep.
quiet and get the jump on people and everything, and here's my teammate just making all the noise.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to.
And I think I get again. I think the important thing is just letting your teammates know.
Yeah.
It's like I play. It says knowing your teammate too. Like
Yeah, know your teammate.
it's
Which
the
which is
thing
funny
of
because the next topic is randoms.
yeah, yeah. We'll talk about them. But like I know you a hunter taking a shotgun is going to be a very different round than if Riley takes a shotgun
Fair enough.
because while you all play them similarly, I just know Riley will. If Riley's playing a shotgun, he's probably going to be like me, where he's like, I'm playing a shotgun to running gun.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys are like, I'm still playing a shotgun and I might still play pretty sweaty and stuff with it. Just
Right.
knowing what your teammates are going to do and how they play is going to everybody's got a play style and it's gonna bleed into whatever loadout they play.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to
So
some extent.
so learn your friends.
Yeah, learn your
L-
learn your friends.
learn your friends.
Learn your hunt partners. Which the downside of that then is boy howdy, you can get to the point where you know your hunt partners really, really well, and you don't like even need to communicate everything, and then you play with a different group, and you take all that for granted. I
Right.
I just remember the first time I was playing with I think it was Drake and Tom. I just played like a week or two straight with Hunter and Riley,
Right.
and I stayed playing with Drake and Tom, and I'm like, I got my shotgun. We're playing trios, and I'd run in, I'd kill like two of them, and then I'd die, and I'd be like, ah, well, it's a good thing that my partners will be right here because of course they're running and gunning with me because that's how we play. Oh god,
Right.
it's the other two, and
Yeah.
then I'll
And
look,
he
and then
turns
they'll be like,
around and we're out in the
they're like
woods still.
and I'll hit like spectate, and like one of them's got a spec sniper, like trying to find my body because my dumb butt ran in and got killed away from everybody else, and I'm like, oh, oh right, because I didn't communicate this at all. My partner's in a god awful place now, and I'm gonna go grab a sandwich because he's gonna be 10 minutes. Because
Right.
yeah,
Rotating and everything. Yeah.
so it
I
really
remember those matches. Those were fun. If
yeah
frustrating, they were
they're
fun.
entertaining. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. I'm sure I did
But
the same to you.
yeah, so I think that's the last thing. The two so I think the two big things for teams are communication and and just try and take a little bit of effort to learn your partners.
Right.
Oh, there's two others. There's two others that we have to talk about.
Oh, do we have
So,
time?
yeah, we can.
Okay. Okay.
So backseating. Know
Oh,
who's okay with
backseating.
know who's okay with backseating. Know who's not okay with backseating.
Right.
Here's the thing. You might be the better player. You might know the better play. They're the one who's still up.
Right. They're the one who
And
can hear everything better than you can.
yeah, and so it might be the correct thing, and they might appreciate the thing. Just know if they want it or not,
Right.
because sometimes it can be really helpful, but sometimes even if it's the absolute perfect advice, it can get them like. There have been times where I've been told the correct thing, and I've just been really annoyed because yeah, but you ran in and died, and then I'm annoyed, and then I die because I'm annoyed that I got a correct call out because the person died, and why
Right.
are they telling me how to play? I'm the one like the backseating can be
Yeah.
really, really tilting,
Yes.
and
Yes, it can
it's just
be.
just know if your teammate's okay with it or not. It's a weird thing to ask. Hey, are you okay if I backseat?
Yeah.
But the way I found it happens more is the rule I kind of have is it's okay to backseat, but if I tell you to shut up, shut up. And I'm
Right.
not telling you to shut up because I'm angry with you, but like if
I
I'm
need to I
I might
need
be
you to be
listening for
quiet.
steps or something. Yeah, I might be
Yeah.
listening for steps. I might just be annoyed. So I think that's the that's how I typically look at it. Everybody's fine to backseat me, but if I
I think I
ignore to
found
tell
a
you to shut up, you
I personally have found a sweet spot when it comes to
Mhm,
backseat, and it's not to give a play. It's to I'll be quiet, right? Whenever someone's
mhm.
trying to clutch and I'm dead. For some reason when you're dead, you can hear things differently than the person who's actually playing. And I don't know
I think it's
why, but I've noticed
I
that
don't
difference.
I don't think
And
it's an audio difference. I think it's a difference in focus. Because
maybe
I think when you're
it's
playing,
all the time.
you're focusing on you have like the extra like additional thing of like where's my crosshair so if somebody pops up I can aim quickly.
Right.
Whereas if you're just the dude in the chair to borrow the Spider-Man meme, um, you don't have to worry about aiming at all. You're like, oh, I can check the map, I can see where bounty is,
Right,
I
right,
can
right.
check their ammo, I can
You're
check
not
their
the one
consumables.
in the seat,
Oh,
yeah.
hey buddy, you do have Necro, I'm a
Right, yeah,
safe
yeah.
like you don't have the added stress of having to be able to
Be the one to make the shot.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have, like, the FPS part, you only have the strategy part to focus on.
Right, and that's fair.
Yeah,
It does feel like the audio is different though, and I mean it could just be
yeah.
focused like you said, but it does feel like the because the number of times where I've been spectating someone and being quiet, and like my brother for example, he'd be like watching like a corner or something, and I'm like, there's footsteps to your right. Then he'll look over, and right when he does, they come around the corner and he blasts them, and it's like I didn't even hear that. Like I had no idea they were there, kind of thing. It's amazing. So
Yeah,
what I will do is and I don't know if it's annoying or not. No one's told me it has been. Is I'll just quietly be like, "Hey, footsteps to your right," or I think they might be above you. Like little things, but I'll be quiet so they can still
yeah,
hear, and I'll make my little
yeah.
statement
I
short and
think that's a good
sweet.
way of doing
So
it.
it's not really backseating. It's not giving them a play. It's trying to give them a little extra info that I'm catching
Yeah.
that they may not be. So
I'm the jerk one who I'm like, "Please, for the love of God, reload."
yeah, that's
So,
your backseat
look, Drake,
gaming that you can't.
when you're sitting there, it's been 2 minutes since we've seen a player. Please just reload wait up from 1 shot in your chamber, please.
Oftentimes it's because of bullet grubber, and I'm just like, if I don't have it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no,
Well,
I want to save
I
that
I
round.
think
You never know.
I think what is though, like, because of bullet grubber, like, sometimes even, like, you just assume, like, it's a bullet grubber gun because you're like, "I don't wanna
Maybe I
reload my"
do. Maybe I
Whereas
do.
I'm just like, I'm a freaking reload addict. Like, I take my shot, I'm slamming that A
Well,
button. It's time to reload.
there's also been a lot of times in Hunt where I'll start to reload and then I regret it because someone comes around a corner and now I gotta wait for the animation. I gotta right
Yeah,
click to get out of the to cancel it, and I gotta wait for the
yeah.
animation, and then I gotta wait for it to be ready to shoot again, and by then I'm dead.
But I've died more to not being reloaded than died while reloading, so,
Okay, mine's the opposite. I've died more
yeah.
while reloading than I have uh
I
being
just
low on ammo.
I hate being able to being caught and, like, not having enough bullets, it stresses me the frick out.
Right.
Um, yeah, so there's something else. The other thing is this is kind of an etiquette thing for me. This might give me some hot water. Don't be afraid to go for a revive. Hunt's revive is really fast,
It is actually pretty quick, you're right.
and if somebody gets like downed, a lot of times people assume it's the partner won't go for the revive quickly. So if you book it over there, a lot of times you can get some really sneaky fast revives in, and the time is so short. Don't be afraid to go for a ballsy revive.
The only
And
thing
I
I
think
would
this
say to
kind of
that,
falls into I think this falls into etiquette because it's like a like getting your teammate back into the game.
right.
But be
Okay.
careful about it. But don't be afraid of it. And more importantly, if you go for the revive, commit to the revive.
Right.
Okay.
Don't
The,
dance around.
if somebody starts shooting at you in it, maybe don't.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
if you're halfway through revive and you see somebody running around the corner, keep the revive. Like if they don't see you, because like
right.
it's only like a second. Like you can get that revive off just as fast as you can get that gun up. So like
Right.
y- committing to a revive is something. The amount of times I see people die and stuff just half-heartedly going for revive and then kind of baiting and then running away and then kind of doing and then stopping. It happens a lot. Um,
Well, so
don't be
there's
afraid to
actually
revive your
intent
partner.
behind
Yeah.
that, by the way.
No,
It's an attempt
yeah,
to bait them out. So
no,
it's like I don't
mm,
disagree with doing
no,
it.
no. There are times where I've seen people who are just afraid to go for the revive.
Well,
So
okay. Well,
yeah,
whenever I do it, it's just so you're aware as my friend. Whenever I do it, it's because I'm trying to bait them to shoot and peek so I can take a shot myself.
yeah. It
It's,
depends on too where the body is. Like if it's in the open, yeah, bait it. But if it's like if you're
right.
around a corner,
Okay.
just
Well,
go
yeah,
for it.
well, that's different, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
uh,
that's the last thing I wanted to say for Etiquette. Don't be afraid to go for a revive. You can get away with a lot more revives than you think you can.
fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all we've got. Well, technically
Yeah.
randoms, but
Last thing is randoms. Have you ever played with randoms?
uh, I tried once when I first started playing.
Mhm.
Um, I don't. I think I tried to queue 2 or 3 times, and every single time I got abandoned or kicked out or whatever. So I was just like,
Okay.
oh, okay. I guess I just can't do randoms. So I never went back and tried it. Never played with
Yeah,
randoms.
I've played some, so I've got some experience with it.
I've heard horror stories
Uh,
with randoms.
yeah, I think the big thing is try and match their not necessarily their investment level, but their play style. Um, like if you see somebody going with a Mosin sniper, don't go in with a Gumero conversion, right?
Right? Yeah, yeah.
It's just and then take a minute when you're at spawn, you're waiting for them to load in, talk to them, get to know them a little bit, ask how their hunts have been going. Ask them how they typically play. Just find out
Right.
if they're like little sweaty lads or if they're like, I've got I brought dragon's breath in a dream. It goes a long way.
Right.
Communicate. Don't be afraid to go, hey, now that we're in the match, do you want to like add me on Discord so we can Discord chat?
Right.
Stuff like that can really help a lot.
The only thing about
So
that is I would then get cluttered with people's like servers and stuff. So
I mean, yeah, you can always just unadd them after, but
I mean, true.
yeah, it's the I don't think we need to say this, but I'm
You
going
never
to.
know.
Don't don't Instaburn a meme on your partner if they're random.
Right.
You
Yeah,
like
because
you
you
don't
don't know them. They are not your
yeah.
friend.
If I hit Drake with a if I know Drake has a 50 bar and I hit him with a flare gun, then he's gonna go ha ha ha, funny
Yeah.
meme. If I hit a random with a flare gun, he might go, this guy's trying to team kill me.
Yeah. What the hell, man? Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing of like how he talked about like revives and stuff. Find out if they're going to be like a sweaty person who will like live and die for you, or if they're like, hey, if you go down because you're playing a shotgun and I'm playing a sniper, I'm not dying for you. Just chat with them a little bit at the start.
Right.
Don't be a jerk. Just
I
if
have no opinion on these because I don't know how people are
yeah.
as randoms. So
Typically, I've had really good experiences. Most people just kind of want to play the game and don't have somebody to play with at that moment.
right.
Uh,
I've been told a horror story about randoms where the she went in with two randos and she and one rando got downed and the
mhm,
last one clutched and killed everybody.
and didn't pick them up.
He went over to the bodies of his teammates, looked at them, and then turned and ran off to the extract.
God.
Yeah, so it's just like wow, like
I've never had anything like that happen. I've had really good experiences.
okay,
The thing there is communication can be really rough because you got to use VoIP.
right, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's it's really just the thing of just make sure you guys are on the same page at the beginning. It takes a second to do. Just go like sweater meme
So,
and then
right.
you
Are
know
we actually trying, or are we just here for fun?
yeah just spend that minute. A lot of the problem is a lot of the random etiquette's kind of common sense stuff like you know don't cuss out your teammate or
Yeah,
whatever the
that
frick.
should be like you shouldn't have to say that, but
Yeah, exactly.
it's
It's like
also the internet, so don't
yeah,
if you live by it, don't expect that to be given back to you. You know?
yeah. And also the thing of, especially if it's randoms, don't take it personally too if they like trash talk you. It's
Yeah,
they could they could just be used to trash talking their friends group, and they could be a term of endearment. They could just be having a crappy day. They could
right.
just be a jerk, and if that case, it's don't don't let it bug you. Just go, all right, well, screw
Yeah,
you.
he's a jerk. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So
I'll play
the
how I
problem with it
want.
is like I'd love to talk about this for a bit. There's really not a ton we can though.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
but you're
I,
also late.
am I? No, it's 4:30.
Oh, it's at 4:30. I'm sorry. I thought you said it was at 4. My
Yeah.
bad.
No, I tend to like to get done before 4:30, so that way I can
Right. Makes
like
sense. Okay, my bad.
sit down or something before. But um, do we have anything else for etiquette stuff?
I don't
I
think
love how
so.
this whole podcast is basically communicate, don't be a jerk.
Yeah,
There we go.
summarize. Yeah, that's good.
It's the nice thing about it is I do think it can legitimately help communication skills.
Some, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like
guess I guess we could. Go ahead. Go ahead.
if nothing else, I think the two skills Hunt can help with is patience
Okay.
because Hunt requires a lot of patience in the game, and that's a good life skill to have. And
Yeah.
communication because it's a team based game. And there you go, guys. That's how to include Hunt Showdown on your resume.
I think the only other thing I could suggest is if you see a toolbox on the ground, like maybe don't take a use of it. Let your teammates have first dibs, or a
Oh yeah,
poster, or money on the ground, or whatever.
especially
It's minor
in
things,
trios.
but
In trios, yeah.
in trios, yes, obviously.
It is
Um,
something. I'm a filthy little loot goblin.
I
So
mean, kind of same.
I very much try and restrain myself. So like when I see something in trios, especially like if it's like fanning, no offense, and like I have a fanning pistol, I'm gonna freaking take it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I agree.
but if it's something you're not like super big on, so like I live at my prestige. Blood bond or not blood bond, bloodline XP means very little to me. So
Right.
I will ping it and keep going because
You don't need it.
you know. Or if you finish a fight and like you've got consumables and like one of them you're not happy with and you find a lunchbox, before you throw it into the water to get something better, just go, hey, does anybody need a med kit or something? So
Right.
this way you don't, switch one of your suboptimal consumables out for something else, and then your buddy's like, I have no med kits and no consumables, and you're like, ooh,
Oh, whoops. Yeah.
whoopsies.
Make sure everyone's kind of equal on their consumables and medkit uses and such and
Yep,
things like that.
yeah.
So,
Let everybody get a little bit of the world loot.
one of the comments I had from Tom
Mhm.
about camping, it was the little idea
Oh yeah,
one.
yeah.
So banish
Correct that.
complete. Fire
Okay.
slowly starts burning compound, forcing hunters to leave compound. That would be interesting,
Mhm.
depending on how quick the fire spread, and if there was like ways to maneuver through the fire. So maybe lots of fire, but not like all encompassing.
My issue with that is
That would be weird.
downed hunters getting stuck in the fire
Yeah, that's true.
and not being able to get them out. And
I would say chokes could still put it out,
yeah,
but maybe when the
I
choke is
think
gone, it slowly consumes that space
it's a
back up.
neat it's a neat idea. I don't think it can be implemented without being really frustrating. I like the idea of something being. I think the intent behind it's good. I think the execution isn't. I
What?
like the idea of something happening to the compound to encourage movement. I
Right.
don't like the idea of it being fire. Maybe
I
I'd
like.
be almost
Oh,
honestly like just more like grunts or something spawning in.
I was gonna say. So the
Just
second part of his comment there: hunters outside waiting for bounty to leave can't sit still in one area for too long because of AI attracted to the scent of being left by those hunters. I like that, but like maybe the act of banishing, like the finished banish, attracts grunts or something. So it'll spawn grunts further out that are automatically like charging toward, maybe not automatically, but they'll end up charging towards the compound, so it affects the guys outside and technically the guys inside too. So we have them spawn, further away, but also in compound, to affect everybody. So it's almost like a Left 4 Dead horde situation, but you're
I
also
think
two teams trying to
yeah,
fight it out.
I think AI is definitely a possibility for fixing the issue. I think there's some issues with it because of like optimization
Oh
and
yeah. Oh, I mean,
it
it would
can be
need
really frustrating to lose a fight because AI
swarming.
shambles over. But
Yeah.
I don't I don't know.
What
It
if
could
what if
be
AI was, outside the compound like you originally stated, but what if the
yeah.
banishment released to darkness or something and it slowly emanates out, and if you're within that aura, it doesn't really do anything to you except it like blinds you or like gives you a weird thing over your screen so you can't stay I mean, you can, and you can still fight in it just fine, but like your vision's gonna be messed with, or maybe your sound or something,
Yeah, I don't know.
like a darkness aura. Play off the
Like
whole dark.
maybe like the compound becomes a fog.
Ooh, yeah.
That'd be
Just
interesting.
various
I
things like
think
that would be cool.
there's some cool idea. I'm really curious as what they're gonna do, because like we've talked about, it's like I
That's
feel like
true.
there's a lot of possible solution things that we've talked about, but like there's not been any one that I've gone, ah yes, perfect.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm wondering what they're gonna do.
You
I
know what? Maybe
still
we save this
yeah,
topic for when it actually releases of what that patch is for anti-camping,
yeah.
just to see.
The one I'm really excited that I would really be excited for them to do is I really want the boss update one. I really want them to make all the bosses meaningful to the compound, like Scrappy is.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where
I
Butcher,
think that'd
everything's
be
on fire and broken.
yeah, I think it'd be really interesting, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't mind seeing the spider boss have like webbing that you can get slowed in if you walk through
Ooh,
it. Kind of like
yeah,
wading through water, but webbing.
that
Um
could be interesting.
I'm not sure what you could
And
do
then
with the
we
assassin, to be honest with you.
bugs, little bugbears and stuff,
Ooh, or
bleeding
just like
things.
roaming bugs. They don't seek you out, but if you accidentally walk through one, then bugs crawl over your face like it does when you're uh
Yeah,
fighting the assassin.
we will. This is going to be a topic. We're going to talk about this
Okay, I like that.
stuff.
I like talking, theorizing what we could do with game aesthetics
We
along with mechanics.
we come back to this part of the podcast where we talk about future podcasts to make sure you
Right,
come back for
full
more.
circle, full circle. Yeah.
But
As long as the camping mechanic that they come out with is aesthetically there as well. I don't want a mechanic that's just there for a mechanic. You know what I mean? Like, why is this happening?
you
Why
you want you
why
want it
would
to be
this
like tied to like
anti-camping
Dark Side or
thing?
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I want it to relate to the
Um.
game and its aesthetic, not just be a mechanic in the game.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Because
Um.
I'm an aesthetic person, so
Yeah. I agree. I don't want it to damage the feel of the game.
yeah, exactly. That's a good way of putting it. I don't want it to damage the feel of the game. I
So I
believe
think
that is it.
we're kind of at the end.
We're at the end of it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you
You
for
can
watching and listening to Hunt Lowdown.
yeah, you can find us at the normal places. Baldy225 on Twitch, YouTube.
And
I,
Drake with two eyes.
yeah. Uh, you do have two eyes.
I usually, unless I'm playing
Usually.
Bridgewater, then
What?
I have one because he's got an eye patch.
Oh, okay. Oh,
As
that
long
made
as
me
he,
think of when you're talking about like you can hear stuff in the game that other. It just make me think of like I'm not deaf in my left ear, but like my hearing's god awful in it.
okay.
Like it's really really bad, and so like there are definitely times when people like play with me and they'll be listening to like how do you not hear that? And I'll be like it's on my right side, and they're like that is so clearly not, and I'm like But okay, yeah, you wanna take us out, Drake?
Yeah, so again, thank you for watching or listening to Hunt Lowdown. Don't forget your drugs when you enter your bayou. Take all of your syringes.
Oh, we'll catch
Look,
you guys next
you
week.
gave me the outro, that's what I'm doing.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, that's a way to end it, Drake.
Yep. Don't forget your drugs.
Let's say like I'm just gonna shut up for a second so you can just cut all this. I just babbled for a minute.
Okay.
My cat just knocked something over.